Day before yesterday we have discussed the V model, yes?
Yes.
How testing activities, how we have a parallel testing activity to the development activities, yes?
Yeah.
So today we will discuss about iterative incremental models. Okay, so they are known as agile models. Okay, iterative incremental models. Forget about anything. If you go by the word iterative, means iterations there, yes,
Yeah.
period, duration, and incremental means it increments. So you deliver something now, you release it, you deliver something from like this. From time to time the whole software is built and developed. So what are the common characteristics of iterative incremental models? Usable subsets of requirements identified. Okay, so the requirements we have usable subsets of requirements identified, and they are in increments. Okay,
Yes.
so these requirements, what does it mean? Means these requirements come from the business and it comes in the sets. You deliver this part, when you complete, you deliver other part. When you deliver this, we will give you some other work. Yes? Use a series of shorter development cycles. So in agile models, what happens? Shorter development life cycles are used. How? So as for example, in agile models, what happens? Either you have the time box period or iteration time 2 weeks, 3 weeks or 4 weeks, or sometimes it is shorter. Okay, standard is from 2 weeks to 4 weeks. This is known as time box period or iteration. Okay, or iteration. In this iteration or time box period, a complete working software has been built and delivered. Okay, working software built and delivered. So that's why we call it a series of shorter development life cycle. So if the project is going to take 2 years or 1 year or 6 years, but we will not deliver the software after 2 years or after 3 months. Every 2 weeks, if we have decided the time box period or iteration as 2 weeks, then every 2 weeks we will deliver a software, and that would be in working condition, and that's why we call it shorter development cycle. Yeah, cycles. The whole software has been built in iterations. Exactly the same thing coming. Yes,
Yeah.
software produced by iteration. So as I explain you, 2 weeks time, 3 weeks time, or 4 weeks time, or it might be shorter. Okay, might be less time. Okay, shorter time. In that particular time, we produced a software and deliver it to the business, and this is in complete working condition. Yes,
Yeah.
regression testing increasingly important. Iteration by iteration. So now when you are in iteration 1, you have some requirements. Yes, You built those requirements and delivered. So in this iteration, you need to test the requirements for iteration 1. Yes.
Yeah.
But when you are in iteration 2, okay, iteration 2, you need to test requirements selected for iteration 2 and repeat, I just put repeat testing of iteration 1. Yes.
Yeah.
When you are in iteration 3, what you will do? Can you explain? When you are in iteration 3, you will test the requirements for iteration 3 and you will do testing for iteration 1 and iteration 2.
True. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Test, I simply write, okay, test for
Mm-hmm.
iteration 3
Fine.
and iteration 2 and 1. Yes.
Yeah.
When you are in iteration 4, what happens? Can you explain?
Test for iteration 3, 2, and 1.
Yes, in iteration 4, you will definitely test for 4,
Iteration
but
3,
you
2,
will test 1, 2, 3. If you are in iteration 5, you will
yeah.
test everything.
1,
And
2,
that's why we
4.
call it regression testing, increasingly important iteration by iteration. As you go along, you have
Okay.
more testing to do.
Yeah.
Increments combine as developed to form a growing partial system. When you are in iteration 1, when you are in iteration 2, you combine the system, and that's why you deliver the whole system partially. Yes, increments combine as developed to form a growing partial system. Yes, increments combine as developed form a growing partial system. Why let me go to topic 4 again. Points for regression testing, increasingly important iteration by iteration. So what happens? You have delivered something in iteration 1. Yes,
Yeah.
delivered some requirements iteration 1. Yes,
Yeah.
now you will deliver some other requirements in iteration 2. Yeah,
Mm.
delivered other requirements. Yeah, or more requirements. Let me put some other requirements. It makes sense. In iteration 2, you will integrate as a tester, not you will not do test developers. You will integrate iteration 1 and iteration 2 requirements or functionalities, okay, to build growing partial system. Yes, and that's why you need to test regression testing for iteration 1. Understood? Because you are integrating, and when you integrate, you need to verify the system is working as per expectation. Yes.
Yeah.
When you are in iteration 3, I'm explaining increments combine as developed. So when you delivered something in iteration 3, yes, then what you will do, you will combine the functionality of the software of all requirements or the system whatever delivered in iteration 1 and 2. Understood?
Yeah.
When you are in iteration 4, you will combine this 4 whatever you are delivering 4 with 1 2 3, and this is the how the whole system is delivered partially. Yes, as each increment added, more testing is needed. When you add more and more iteration and increment functionalities, you need to do more and more testing. What are the examples of agile methods are? One is Scrum. It is covers all the topics cover Scrum, okay? But what happened in this, the iteration can be short, sometimes in hours, days or weeks, and the standard time box period theory is 2 weeks to 4 weeks, yes, or sometimes it can be in months, okay,
Okay.
but mostly 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks.
It's not more than 1 month.
No, but sometimes if it is a bigger project, they might select more and give more time.
Okay.
Okay,
Why it is only deliver parcel system, not fully?
because you can't deliver everything together. As for example, you are building a big system, very huge big system. Okay, let me go and give you an example. Okay, I am on NetWest website.
Okay.
Okay, you
Mm.
have the login in here: business, premier, personal, products, help and support you and your money, banking with us, coronavirus. Can you build everything the same time?
No.
No. Yes, this is the reason you can't do everything. If one of the teams is dealing with bank accounts, then they will just look into bank account and they will bill it. It is a big even see bank account stuff. Yes, it has so many different things to do. This is just for the display. So in that also they will select only few requirements and deliver it. And then in the next iteration they will select some other requirements and they will bill it. Yes.
Yeah.
If you go to my Hermes, okay. So this is a website you can see of my Hermes. You can send a parcel. Can you see? Can you do you think that it will be delivered in one day? No,
No.
2 weeks time. No, there are like n number of teams working. They must be working for personal, just for the businesses. In businesses, in personal, so many things that you can see. See send, track, return. In
Yeah.
send, so many things. So one team is working. They are selecting some requirements and they are delivering. And that's why the whole system is delivered. Like
Yeah.
they add those functionality together. In the end, at the end of the day, the whole fully functional system will be available to you. Any question?
No.
Okay, the first one is Scrum. As I explained you have 2 to 4 weeks time period or sometimes shorter. And the features are built, the software has been built and delivered in increments by increments. Okay, and this increments by iteration to iteration. Kanban. Next is Kanban.
Kanban.
Okay, this is an agile, one of the agile methodologies. In this, what happens? This can be implemented with or without a fixed length iteration. And these features can be delivered in a single enhancements or multiple enhancements. Or you can group these enhancements together and deliver it. So in Scrum to Kanban, there is little bit difference there, but they are part of Agile. So you can say everything is still built iteration by iteration, and the fully functional system is delivered at the end of the project. The whole system is delivered partially, increment by increment, iteration by iteration.
Okay.
The other one is called RUP. RUP stands for Rational Unified Process. What is Rational Unified Process? So whenever you are building any software, you will have some processes to be built. Yes. So when you are building a software, you will not bother about anything else. You are concentrating on the processes.
Yeah.
And in this one, the iterations are longer. It can be in months, 2 months or 3 months. Because you pick up one end-to-end process and you still work on an end-to-end process and deliver that particular process. Yes.
Yeah.
Meter balance is a process. Okay, checking bank balance. So what is the checking bank balance process covers?
Statement.
Yes, go on.
Statement of the bank.
Yes, but
Transactions.
yes, the transactions, money going in, money going
Yeah.
out. Yes, login into the system. So like this is the whole flow. But we will not bunch so many things. Particular thing, just one flow has been selected, and based on that, the whole system will be built and delivered. Yes. The last one is spiral. The word itself suggests what it could be. Yes.
Yeah.
This is also known as prototype.
Okay.
What is prototype? As for example, you when you go outside and you must have seen, some people they are constructing some buildings, and outside they have attached the photographs. Yes, in that how the building will look like. People might be walking showed on the footpath and everything in this photo. Yes,
Hmm.
this is called prototype. In another way, a model. As for example, you are constructing a multi-story building or small one-story house, then what you will do? You will have a model exactly, yes, how
Okay.
this building will look like. That is prototype. In this, what involves experimental increments, some of which may be heavily reworked or even abandoned in subsequent development work. Sometimes you implement, sometimes you don't like, so you abandon that work. As the end of the system, you are delivering the whole system in a forms of growing parcel system, and this system should be tested. Exactly the same thing, the regression testing is very important in spiral or prototype testing. Again I explain you, I gave you example of building civil engineering. Yes, as for
Okay.
example they are constructing a bridge, or just I gave you a temple. Then before they build a temple, they will have a, that prototype model we call it. Yes,
Yeah.
as for example Ram temple hasn't been built yet, mandir. Yeah, but we have the prototype available.
Yeah.
Yes, this is whatever is the structure is available, the photos come, it is a prototype.
Okay.
There can be any changes occur. Okay, something goes wrong, then they will change some of the planning based on how it works. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay, in these all processes we do two things. One is verification and validation, and testing itself is verification and validation.
Okay.
So what is verification? You haven't built the software, okay, but you are building it and checking whatever you are building is correct. That is verification.
Yeah.
What is validation? You have built it already. Yes, you have built it already. Now you are checking whatever you have built is correct is validation. So let me explain you. Confirmation by examination. This is the ISTQB definition. Confirmation by examination and through the provision of objective evidence that specified requirements have been fulfilled. So in verification you have the requirements and you are quality checking the requirements. Yes, you are reviewing the requirements and verifying whatever you are building is correct. Yes, right. Yes, the question you are asked here to get answer, are we building the product right? Because you are building. Yes, you haven't built it, that's why you are. And what is validation? Confirmation by examination and through the provision of objective evidence that the requirements for a specific intended use or application have been fulfilled. Yes, so what you have the requirements, you build the software and verifying. Now you are verifying the software we have built is right. Yes, the question you are asking is here, are we building the right product? Whatever you are building is right. Yes, both validation and verification can be carried on work products. And work increments. Okay, so testing can be done on any documents or the product itself. Any question?
No.
So now we have discussed different life cycles. Yes, so we
Which
will
is the
yes,
what is the difference between verification and validation? Both are look similar.
because they both are quality checking, so it will look similar but simple. When you review the requirements
Yeah.
in simple, if you want to understand, that is verification. And you have the software ready for you and you are quality checking the software, you are testing the software. Quality checking is not the correct word, but I am using it so people can understand. Okay, that is validation. Understood?
Okay.
Still I explain. Yes, for example, I ask you to build something. Okay, let's give you, I can give you, as for example you started some this cooking business, whatever it's called. Yes,
Yeah.
uh, what what is the word, I forgot it, whatever it is, catering business.
Catering. Yeah.
Yeah, catering business. So I say make me food for 100 people.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I gave you the list.
Mm.
I have 5 items or 6 items, this 6 items only. Yeah,
Yeah.
so when you need these 6 items to be prepared, you will have some ingredients list and how much you want. Yes,
Yeah.
and you check literally you have everything and the quantity and quality, whatever it is. Yes, both the things.
Okay.
That is your verification. You
Yeah.
started cooking it and then checking is did you put enough proper quantity of salt. Yes,
Yeah.
no more chili powder, exactly the same thing with chili powder, and you test it with a spoon. That is validation.
Okay.
The food you are cooking is correct, of good quality. Yes.
Um,
Before that, you have the ingredients, and you are
yes.
checking. Yes, for example, if you need 10 people, 50 people, I say 50 people, then you have to have the rice which can be enough for 50 people. Yes.
Yeah.
Then you are cooking for 50 people, then you can say you might need probably that much salt, and you are checking that that much salt is there, and you are adding. That is verification. You are cooking it, cooked it already, now testing, that is validation.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are the good characteristics of testing? Yes, characteristics of testing.
Yes.
For every development activity there is a corresponding activity. Yes, whatever it is, there is a development activity, we have a corresponding activity. Yes, every development activity there is a corresponding testing activity. So as for example, component testing, integration testing, system testing, acceptance testing. Yes,
Okay.
every test level has objectives specific to that level. Yes, every level has its objectives. We have discussed in details. For component testing, our main objective is to find and fix as many defects as possible. Can we have exactly the same objective for user acceptance testing or acceptance testing? No. No is the answer, correct answer. Why? Because you might not have any defect or you might not have any bug in the software, but what if the software is not working?
Yeah.
You want a calculator for scientific purposes, but the calculator does only this addition, subtraction, simple mathematical calculations.
Yeah.
Then you can't accept it, and that's why you have to have its own objectives. Yes.
Yeah.
Test analysis and design of tests for a specific test level should begin during the corresponding development activity. Yes, this is known as early testing. Test analysis and design starts and design starts ASAP. The draft, or if you want to say design, test analysis and design starts against, okay, the development corresponding development activity. Yes, simplest example is acceptance testing. When the acceptance building the software, when any activity for software development starts, we have to start testing as early as possible. As soon as we have the draft document available, we will start testing, because we will start analyzing the requirements, and from those requirements we will design the test cases. Yes,
Yeah.
tester should be involved ASAP, okay, in reviewing the requirements, documents available. Yes, as soon as the draft document is available for any requirement, the testers should get involved. It is not that it is the developers they are building, so only the developers will get involved, and when the system is ready, the testers will get involved. No. As soon as the draft document available, as a tester, you should get involved and start designing the test cases. Yes.
Yeah.
Here the choice of model driven by project and product characteristics. What model we are going to use? Shall we use agile, one of the agile models, or shall we use waterfall model or free model? Based on the project and the product we are building, we select the models. Okay. If it is a small system, then you can go by the waterfall. But in waterfall, there is a risk. What if the software you have built and delivery is incorrect? Then you have to start everything again from scratch. Yes.
Yeah.
Any question?
No.
Now let's discuss about levels of testing. Yes. For that, each and every level, we have to have the objectives. Yes. For each test level, yes, set specific objectives. Component testing, then we have component testing objectives. We have to have the test basis document for literally each level. Yes, each level has test basis document. What is test basis? Do you remember?
Test basis. No.
Yes, any document, either can be a requirement document or any document from which we are going to write the test cases or build the software. Yes, based on the document, the whole system is involved. Or any document from which we can derive the test cases. Anything is it test basis. It can be old legacy system. It can be a business specification document, or it can be user stories, whatever you call it. Any documents or systems from which you can derive your test cases is called test basis document. Yes. Test object. Each and every level has its test object. What is test object?
Test objects. Source of data.
The system you are testing.
Okay. System.
Okay, let me explain here. Right, documents from where you derive test cases. Yes, and here system you are testing. Okay, simply I am writing so it can be understood easily. Typical failure and defects expected. Each and every level we will have some specific or typical defects. Defects expected. Yes, at component level you have something not working. Something not working will be a specific, but at acceptance level you are not meeting the requirements. This kind of, yes.
Yeah.
Test harness requirement. What is test harness? Any documents or systems or tools you are using to test software. Yes, spelling wrong. Where is this all training? Yeah, it might be in here. Hopefully it will find somewhere. Yes. Is there any word in there? Preparing test harness. Next. There. Let's close it. There must be a list. I have given everything one by one. Yes.
Yeah.
Not giving, but there must be somewhere. But what is test harness? Whatever tool you are going to use to test the software, any documents you are going to use is known as test harness. But how we are going to build, and that is known as test harness requirements. What are the tools and specifications we have to test the particular software? Okay, that is known as test harness. Next, tool support. Here you decide what tool support you are going to use for each and every level. Yes.
Yeah.
If you use Excel, then Excel is a tool for you. Yes. If you are using Jira, then Jira is a tool for you. So this is the tool. What tool you are going to use to support your testing activity. The approaches you are going to use, how you are going to test the software is the approach. Yes, that is known as test approach. How you do it? Yes, as for example, you want to go to London. Then in planning phase, you will say you have options. You can drive, you can ride a bicycle, you can go by train, and you can fly. Yes. When you have decided flying, when you implement that fly to London, that is called approach. Yes. Responsibilities. For each and every test levels, we have to assign the responsibilities who will do what. For any level, it is not this would be for one level. It can be for any level. We have to assign the responsibilities. In overall, we are testing, so we can say who will write the unit test cases if we are at the unit level. Yes. But each and every level we have to have objective. This is the generic statement. Okay. For literally all the levels. For acceptance, then for acceptance level we will have. Yes. Any question?
How many levels of testing? This is the objectives, right?
The first one is objectives.
No,
Set
how
specific
many
objective.
level of testing like?
Based on the project management team will decide. But you can have component level. So one, yes, that is
Okay.
unit testing. When you integrate two, then you the components, then you have component integration testing. That is the second level. When you have the system, then at the system, so you can have the system testing. Yes,
Okay.
when you are doing integrating two systems, then you can have system integration testing, and the last one is acceptance testing.
Oh,
So
5
at least you can have 5
levels.
levels,
Yeah.
but you want to do more, you can, is a project management team decides.
Okay.
Any other question?
No. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Next, component testing. Yes, so the first level comes is component level testing.
Okay.
First level is component level testing. Component testing, but I use a word level so you can understand. This testing is also known as unit testing. This is also known as module testing and program testing. So this component has three synonyms. This component testing search for defects in and verifies the functioning of software modules, programs, objects, classes, etc. that are separately testable. When you have a software, whatever you can separate and test it, it's called unit or a component. Yes, separate entity testable, yes, is called component or unit testing. As for example, a button is there, can you click on the button? So you are testing, just concentrating where you go, you are able to click the button. The button is enabled, the button is disabled. When you have a text box, you are able to write something in the text box. Yes,
Yeah.
that is component testing. So what are the test bases for component testing? What are the test bases for component testing? First thing, this is generic, you need to have the component specification. Yes, what buttons you need, what text boxes you need. Yes, you need to have detailed design where you are going to attach this button, means put the button, where you will have this text box on the UI. Yes, where you are going to display the link, that will be discuss everything in detailed design.
Okay.
Code, without code nothing is possible. Yes, so front end and back end, they must have written code, and the code should be available for the component testing.
Yeah.
And the data model, yes, what databases we are going to use and how they integrate and work, how these structure work in the data model databases. Yes, any question?
No.
What could be the typical objects for component level. Test objects for component level. The component should be, yes, component or unit or program or classes or module, whatever you can say.
Yeah.
Code and data structures. Yes, the objects you are testing the code, how the database is working, the data structures. Yes, the data structure should be available based on the code. And then called database model. In databases, how you are going to communicate. Database model. What is the structure, and then how this is going to communicate with the databases is known as database model. Any question?
No.
Component testing can be done in a different way. Okay. There can be three ways of component testing. One is Big Bang. All the components you can bunch together. Yes. Top down, from top to down you test it. Bottom up, from bottom to top you test it. So as for example, how you can identify a component. Yes. So you have a system. Log into the system and it does some functionality. Yes.
Yeah.
It might be integrating with n number of stuff. So this component, this is something talking to this is talking to this is talking to this is talking to this is talking to this. Yes, when you have this thing you might have one end-to-end scenario. Yes,
Yeah.
but what is this specific, this specific, this specific, this specific, this specific is a component.
Okay.
Okay, this is whatever it is one component, and this component will have its own specification. If it is like text box, then you have the description of the text box, what the text box can accept, accepts. Yes, is it a free text box or does it have any restriction? Does it accept both data alpha value, alphabets value or alphanumeric value, special characters? All the specifications should be there for literally one component.
Okay.
If it is a free text, you can enter anything and no restriction. If it is a text box with 11 digit number, if it is for mobile number, then it accepts only mobile number, which should be of 11 digit and it should start from 0, because in the back end we have put validation. So if you put any number for mobile 0345, it will be rejected because the mobile number in the UK starts from 07.
Yeah.
Yes. What is the process of component testing? Okay, component testing process. What approach you can say? Component testing process. This component testing is usually done by developers. Okay, usually done by developers or programmers who wrote the code. Okay, who wrote the code. So what could be the process? You execute a test. Yes, when you execute a test, what happens? you will find a failure. Yes, if you find a failure, what you do? Analyze and rectify the issue. So locate a defect. Yes, agree?
Yeah.
Then what you do? Fix a defect and then retest. Yes, after the retest, if you find a failure again, then what do?
Once more retest.
Yes, once again the same thing. After retest, if you find a big error, after retest error is found, then again find the failure, what is causing. Yes, analyzes, locate a defect and fix the defect. Yes, this cycle repeats until and unless the component is stable. But in component testing there is no formal process, no formal defect management process. Why? Because the person who wrote the code is testing. So what is the point telling everyone that I wrote a code and found a defect and I fixed it? Yes,
Yeah.
that would be waste of time, and that's why the person who wrote the code tested. This is one of the reasons it does not have any formal defect management process.
Okay.
Yes, one such approach for component testing could be test first approach. Okay, component testing approach could be test first approach. It is also known as test driven development approach. Okay, test driven development. Test driven development. What does it mean? In this approach, you write the test case first. Okay, from the test case the code is written, so we are making sure the code is going to pass, means the test will pass. If you approach, you have the test case first. From the test case, if you write the code, this approach would be known as test first approach or test driven approach. So how does it work? You have the test basis. Yes, so from test basis, what you do? Prepare test cases from the requirements, and from the test cases, what you do? Either you can automate, so automate test cases if you require, automate the test cases. So it is their test cases only. From this test case, what you do? From the test cases only, write the code. Yes, and then execute it. So you are making sure, here you are making sure the test cases pass. The main intention is to pass the test case. You have the test basis. From the test basis, you can automate it or it can be manual. You write the code and then execute the test cases. These test cases can be functional and structural. Okay, prepare the test cases. I say it can be black box, that is functional, yes, all structural, or white box, because you have the knowledge. You means as a developer they have the knowledge of the code, so it can be white box testing or black box testing can be done. The test cases can be using black box technique or white box technique. Any question?
What is white box and black box testing?
Directly, number chapter 3 will cover in detail, but let me
Oh,
explain you if you ask. So white box and black box. So you have here a box is there, yes?
yeah.
Why I cannot? Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
If you have a black box like this, can you see inside?
No.
No. So what does this mean? You do not have knowledge of the internal structure of the application.
Okay.
When you do not have knowledge of the internal structure, you write the test cases from the requirements only and checking the functionalities of the software or the application. That is known as white black box testing.
Black
The
box.
calculator, how it does 2 plus 2 equal to 4, you don't know. But you
Yeah.
know 2 plus 2 equal to 4.
Yeah.
Yes. What is your verification? 2 plus 2 equal to 4. Do you know
Oh,
how does the calculator, what is the code, how the code is, what they have used? No. That is called black box. Any functionality you are testing, how the calculation is just one example. You transfer the money, so the money should be deducted from your account, it should go to the someone else's account, and that much amount only should increase. Yes, the
yeah.
meter balance should increase. If you verify that scenario, that would be a black box testing. What is white box testing? You have the knowledge of internal code, internal structure. Yes, means you have the knowledge of code. Yes, means knowledge of code, and you know how many statements are there and how the code works. Okay, how
Okay.
many executable statements are there, how many decisions are there, and from this code when you design the test cases and execute them, it will become white box testing. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I wrote it in here. What is black box and white box testing?
Oh, yes.
Let's go to the next in component testing. In component testing, we have some hierarchies of component testing. Okay, so paint would be good. So as for example, this is component A
Okay.
and this is component B and this is component
See.
C. Okay, component A, component B, this is
See.
component C. This component A is getting information from component B. So you can say component A is calling component B.
B.
Yes. A is also getting information from C. So
C.
you can say component A is calling component B. So component A is known as calling component. Yes.
Okay.
Component is
So it means
known as
component A derived information
calling.
from B and C.
Can you repeat?
Component A derived information from component B and component C.
Yes.
Okay.
So component A is known as calling component. Component B and component C. Component
Yeah.
B and C are known as called component. Yes.
Okay.
As for example, you are testing this components testing. What if this A is not built or A is missing, and you need to test integration from component A to component B? See what I'm asking. You are assigned, you are a developer or whatever it is, and you have the task to test component A, integration of component A to component B. Component A is not available, missing, or it is not built.
Okay.
Still you need to carry on doing this testing. So if you do this, you need to replace, you need to use something. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Placeholder, you need to use some placeholder, and the placeholder will be known as drivers. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I need to explain you or write in sentence, drivers replace missing calling component. Okay, can I take it then? So if component A is a calling component and component A is missing, then you will use drivers. Why they
Oh,
are missing? It might not be built,
okay.
and you need to test the integration between two components. Yes. If component B or component C is missing and you need to test, then you say you are missing the called components. So you
Oh,
use stubs. Okay. So stubs replace missing called
okay.
components or component. Yes.
Yeah.
They are the placeholder, nothing else. Yes. So you can test it. As for example, you have to have 11 players in a cricket team.
Okay.
One is missing, then you use a substitute. Yes. So
Yes.
here something is missing, we are using substitute. So we don't need to stop, we can carry on our testing. Any question?
No.
Okay, let's stop it here today. So if you watch video